this episode, we embark on a quest to find a toy for a 60-year-old.
We find a suitable replacement for a long-serving Volvo XC70.
And should a viewer consider flogging their Chevrolet to purchase an Isuzu?
Hello and welcome to Buyer's Guide. Every week, we try to provide you with useful advice, whether it relates to buying, selling, or maintaining a vehicle. If you have a question for the team, you can send an email to buyersguide@ignitiontv.co.za, containing as much information as possible, including a nice picture of yourself.
And joining us in studio to help resolve those troubling automotive issues are two familiar faces in Buyer's Guide. Matthew Kanaya from Heart of Motion and Temin Kosi from Ted Car Motor Group. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Pleasure to be here.
Nice to have you guys in studio. All right, let's just get into it. Our first question comes from 60-year-old Omar, who seeks advice regarding the practicality of purchasing a Honda CR-Z as a toy vehicle for himself. He wonders if this decision is sensible. Oh boy, the guy's going to have fun with that. And if he should be concerned about replacing the battery in the vehicle. Alternatively, he's considering purchasing an older Mazda CX-5 or Hyundai Veloster that will also fit within his budget of 100,000 Rand. Gentlemen?
Before we even go, what is that saying about champagne taste and...
Taste and beer budget.
Champagne beer budget, yeah.
I tell you what, guys, it's not even beer budget, more like still water budget.
Yeah.
Because that's not going to happen. And I would never purchase, sorry guys, you go ahead, but I would never purchase a CR-Z as a toy.
Thank you. As a 60-year-old.
As a 60-year-old.
Okay.
You know what? I've done enough CR-Zs already. I need to find something that actually goes.
Yeah.
Look, I think for me, when I saw the budget of 100,000, number one, it's like, okay, what can you get as a toy for 100,000? Really, maybe you can get a toy from, Toys R Us. And then and also 60-year-old, CR-Z as a toy. So I think there's a bit of a misalignment here in terms of what one wants as a toy and what does a toy mean.
He's not having the proper midlife crisis, I think.
No.
Versus the budget, If I want a toy, I should look for your Maseratis, I should look for your Porsches and the likes and Ferraris. Those are toys, and you can still get them for good price. The older,
but not 100.
Not 100 grand, of course. So I think there's a complete misalignment here, and maybe you must just say looking for a runaround bicycle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
You got 100 grand. What kind of a toy are you going to buy?
So I'm going to search Facebook Market, but I'm definitely not going to find this. It's not actually like a fun car I would consider. There's so many better things like MX-5. You can get those first-gen Z3s. Very fun, but you're not going to find it within 100,000. I think he's pushing his luck. And they're not saying midlife crisis. If he said like convertible, 3-liter, open top, throaty motor, you've got options. But even so, you can get scammed on Facebook for trying to buy one. But at the 100K, it's going to be difficult.
So I think you mentioned a car there which most probably would be the most fun thing to drive around, and you could most probably find one in your budget, and that's the Mazda MX-5.
Yeah, exactly.
You get that whole package. You'll find one within the 100,000 Rand budget. It'll be a high mileage, it'll be an older car, but I mean, the cars he's looking at are going to be like that.
Yeah.
You've got the top-down fun thing if you want to. It's fast enough to have fun in it. It's a classic.
Yeah.
Still looks cool. So if you want to buy something that's a toy and fun to drive, all those other cars are just everyday mundane cars that don't fit your budget.
I have a better idea than Adam.
Don't even fit the budget. So MX-5 would be the one to go to.
Oh, contact Adam. He's been trying to put together his
My MGB.
his MGB together for the past 20 or 30 years that I know him.
15 years. One day I'll finish it. That's the problem when you got to fix other people's cars, not your own.
Not your own.
Okay. Shut up. We're going to move on to our next question now from Mike, who's an 82-year-old vibrant and active pensioner who recently parted ways with his 2009 Kia Sportage 2-litre petrol, now in search of a smaller SUV within his limited budget of 150,000 Rand. He's considering options like the Ford EcoSport, Suzuki Jimny, or the Opel Mokka. He fancies a vehicle with a turbocharged engine with less than 100,000 kilometers on the clock and a full service record. Which vehicle would be the best to go and buy?
Again.
Let me ask you, Matthew, what do you think? 150 grand, turbocharged.
Considering what he's had, I think EcoSport, 1 litre turbo motor, quite fun.
No.
No.
Okay, but
Troublesome
EcoSport,
motor as hell.
If that was the only look, you could do Jimny, but Jimny doesn't have a turbo.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it's limiting, and again, price like 150,000. Can you get like a really nice one of those?
No.
You can't, because understanding where market is now, I think what people have in mind for a budget versus when you go online and look what's there, it's a heartbreaking story. And then your price changes. And when you realize what you have to get, then it's kind of sad. So he's limited in option. I don't know, the Haval he was saying from 3 years ago, Havals were very dated. They were very, very bad a long time ago. So I can understand why he was unimpressed with technology.
Yeah.
So now they've made a huge leap, but the huge leap is huge price. But for that price, I don't actually know. It's a tricky one. Between those 3 options, if you guys are saying no for the EcoSport, I might just go for
I'm not saying no to the EcoSport. The EcoSport's a good option, but not with that engine. Tim and Corsi, what do you think?
Yeah, look, 100%. I think this is what I love about this show. We educate people in terms of what they should buy and what sort of budget they should look at. Because the reality is, I mean, sitting here as a dealer myself, I'm like 150,000 trying to get an SUV, a turbo, and all of that. That's
not going to happen.
You've got a nice GL63 or something.
You're going to buy a problem, right?
Yes.
But I think I agree with me. The Ford EcoSport, you might have to tweak that budget again to get a decent car with good mileage. However, 150,000 rand is not going to buy you something that you can pride yourself of as a 2-year-old.
4 to 5 year old.
You must forget about the 4 to 5 years old vehicle, right? It's going to be an older car. Probably, I'd look on the net, probably 2016, 2017 kind of vehicle. You can get one with lesser mileage with the service history, but the budget of 150,000, you complete it out. Look at the 200,000, then you're going to get a decent car as an 82-year-old.
Yeah, look, you will. I think from his choice of vehicles there, most probably the best one will be the EcoSport, but not the 1 litre turbo. The 1 litre turbo is a horrendously expensive vehicle to maintain, the engine. The car itself is not bad.
Yeah.
So there are other engine derivatives, and the best engine derivative, I think, in that car in terms of reliability, fuel efficiency, and just suits that package properly, is the 1.5 litre 4-cylinder.
100%.
Now you get a 1.5 newer version with 3-cylinder engine. Stay away from that as well. You get a 1.4 diesel, which is actually not too bad, but again, if they give problems with that engine, it's horrendously expensive to fix. The 1.5 4-cylinder engine is from what they had in the Fiestas and Figos, early Figos and Focuses. They were good, strong engines. And then Ford got a new engineer who was dumb, and he put all this new rubbish stuff in it. Those others are great engines. The new engines
Ford is going to sue you, man. You're not going to waste time.
Sitting
They
far
don't
apart.
care about your last name. They're going to sue you.
Yeah.
You know what, guys? I think Mike just made a mistake. He should never have parted ways with his Kia Sportage.
I was going to say the
Good car
same.
to keep, not
Should have
a
kept
car.
it.
He
Go
knows.
buy another one.
He knows the vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind, it's a 2 litre. It's not like going to be flying along.
Yeah.
But that 2009 2 litre petrol is clocked 160,000 trouble-free.
He didn't have any problems with
He
it.
didn't have any troubles
But
with
it's
it.
already gone.
Okay, I'm going to stop you guys there and
Back
just
another
say,
one.
because we are out of time on this question. Just go back and buy yourself another Kia Sportage like you had before. You know it was good. Or the Hyundai Tucson, which is the same sort of thing. Rather, you should have kept that car. If you still got it, then keep it.
Stay tuned, because after the break, we find a suitable replacement for a long-serving Volvo XC70.
And we explore whether the Chery Tiggo 4 Pro is a fitting choice for a viewer. Welcome back to Buyer's Guide. At the age of 74, France wants to replace his 2003 Volvo XC70 2.5 turbo. It's only got 350,000 k's on the clock. You should keep it. He plans to revisit outback areas in southern Africa, traveling about 70,000 kilometers over the next 6 years, and including urban travel of around 30,000 kilometers over the same period. He's considering the following options under the 500,000 Rand mark. The Mitsubishi Pajero and Pajero Sport.
Okay, stop. Let's go to the next question.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Mahindra Scorpio, Renault Duster. Which would be the best buy? He doesn't want any Toyotas or any Fords. Okay.
He's a clever
So,
man.
Tim and Corsi. He's got a nice budget of $500,000.
It's lovely. I like this
Yes.
kind of viewer. Pajero Sport, go for it. 4x4 fuel consumption is good. You can take it to Africa. You can take it anywhere. Pavement, uphill, downhill, rivers, and the likes.
And
Sand and all, and you're sorted.
the diesel used in upcountry can still be used in these cars.
100%.
Yeah.
It doesn't cause too much of a consternation.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, those guys don't brag. It's a solid. We spoke about it here in the show many
Yeah.
times, and it's really a super solid vehicle, most especially for trips like that into Africa, into the middle of nowhere. You know that you've got a reliable vehicle that's not going to give you trouble.
And I suppose for his budget of 500, Matthew, he can Pajero or Pajero Sport. You're going to buy both.
Yeah, you can. I
Whichever
mean,
serves the purpose.
they're very good. I mean, there is a weird wild card one, Renault Duster. So I know it wouldn't be considered for most, but I watched a Dakar recently, and I did see some of the classic and sort of newer ones enter it with just a couple modifications. And
They just didn't finish it.
They didn't,
They entered the race, they never finished it.
but without a turbo and it's high ground clearance and it's good consumption, it's not a bad option. And also used, I mean, you can
I think if
spend
you
less
wanted
money.
something like in and around
Yeah.
South Africa, maybe.
You could do
But
that.
when you're comparing it to something like the Mitsubishi, you know,
Two different.
they're both good cars,
Yeah.
but one is a hell of a lot better.
Superior, yeah.
Superior, that's the word.
And also coming from that Volvo XC70 with 350,000 Ks, he's going to get that with that Pajero easily,
Yeah.
with breeze.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you don't want something that you're not sure if at 250,000 is going to start giving you problems.
Yeah.
But with the Pajero, you are guaranteed to
The Pajero only starts giving you maximum performance after 500,000 kilometers. Up until then, it's pretty new.
Yeah.
You know? So after 500,000 kilometers, then it starts really showing you its worth.
budget
Tell me
is
again,
good.
are you a fan of Mitsubishi products?
Not at all. No, no, never. Me, never.
No, it's hard to diss the product. You know, you can talk about the fact that there are not a lot of dealers around and stuff like that, but you know, the Pajero and the Pajero Sport, for me, I'd go for the Pajero Sport because you're going to get something slightly newer, and I think it's a bit more spacious.
Yeah.
But if you decided to buy the Pajero as well, excellent. They're both very good. But I think the Pajero Sport would give you better fuel consumption, newer vehicle.
Yeah.
You know, Adam mentioned there's not too many dealers and all that around. You guys know the reason why?
Because they don't break.
They don't need them. So where's the money having all the dealers?
They fix themselves.
Right, our next question is from Clifford, who currently owns two vehicles, a fully paid 2015 Polo Vivo and a 2018 VW Combi TDI T6. He wants to purchase two new vehicles, one of them being the Chery Tiggo 4 for his wife, and either the BMW X3 or the VW Amarok for himself. Which vehicle would be the best value for money for his wife, with comfort and safety as his top considerations, guys? You know, when I read this question, it was a little confusing in that he wants to buy the Chery Tiggo 4
For the wife.
yeah. But then he says he wants to buy an SUV for himself. But they already have a SUV.
Or a Bucky.
Or a Bucky, yeah.
Or a Bucky.
Yeah.
So when I look at this, okay, first thing is that they've got good trade-ins. They can get money for them, and one doesn't. Or I think other one is a bit of
12 grand, I think
12
that
grand,
they're more
this
than
one,
happy to pay.
So they've got some equity
Yes.
in their vehicles, and you put them in a better position to really get a good deal out there because they can put deposit. The installment is going to be low. Because if I look at the bucket that he's looking at, we're talking about over R1 million.
Yes,
Already
the new
you are-
Amarok
you are at
4x2.
You're going to be
You
at
mean the Ford
18,
Ranger? The Volkswagen.
Yes, yes.
Volkswagen.
Yeah. And you are at 21,000 rand installment already. Okay. So with
Maybe
the
he's looking at the older one.
yeah. So I'm saying, okay, look at for the wife. Why are you limiting to a thing a Tiggo 4? Why don't you go Pro Max, the 7 Pro, right? More spacious new technology on that vehicle. Give you space for the family, right? And then you go for a Bucky for yourself instead of getting another SUV, as you've said.
Yeah.
Right. Look at the Ford Ranger. You can get it below R1 million.
But that Tiggo 4 is actually quite a spacious vehicle for
Yeah.
its size.
Absolutely. What I'm saying is that for the price that you can get the 7, you might as well look for that for a spacious vehicle because he was in between the SUV for himself or a Bucky.
Yes.
So I'm saying go for a slightly bigger SUV.
Then your wife has an SUV, then you definitely go for your
a
Bucky.
Then
Yeah.
if you want to go as a family, long trip, whatever, you can take the bigger SUV. And I'm not saying it's not a it's a beautiful car, great technology, spacious, 7-seater, you name it. So rather go for a Chery, and then you go for a
He's married. Hey, he shouldn't be going for a
But
Chery.
the 7 is not a 7-seater.
Yeah.
So it's only the Tiggo 8 that'll be a
Then the
7.
seven-
Sorry, I was talking
Yeah.
about the thing, the Pro 7
Yeah.
vehicle, not a 7-seater, but
Yeah.
spacious wise.
Yeah.
it's a value for money for me.
What do you think, Matthew, in terms of the Cherry products?
Look, the Cherry products are good, especially where they are now, not considering where they were. And I understand the appeal of mostly females going towards it, because I've seen it in my space where it's big, high above the road, it's got a reverse camera, and it's got a thing that can plug my phone in and I can carry on with my life. And in terms of cost, you're getting a lot versus what you can get from German or European manufacturers. So I can understand the appeal there.
But has it proved itself in the market, guys?
Oh, well, I think so. I mean, if you look at...
are we going to get good returns when we're trading it in, or not? Is somebody going to say, hey guys, this car here after 5 years, only good place for it is a scrapyard?
Well, we'll see in another couple of years, but it's the second best-selling SUV on the market.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Shouldn't I say crossover, because somebody will say, it's not an SUV, it's a crossover.
it's a compact SUV market.
Yeah.
And we've seen new products coming in. You see the Omodas coming in, the J-Coups coming in.
Yes.
It's a compact SUV. So there's no chance that you cannot get a good resale value for the car, looking at the volume they're pushing out right now.
Is
so
there
there
demand
is a
for it?
demand. Now with the demand, now there's going to be better parts supply. There's going to be better value on those vehicles.
Okay, so we're saying good for the Cherry Tiggo 4, and you guys are saying buy something like an Amarok or a Bucky as that second vehicle. So there you go. That is the great option for you. Go and buy yourself a Bucky and buy yourself a nice SUV from Cherry. Okay, we'll be taking a short break, but when we get back, we set out to find an aftermarket dealer for a cam belt replacement.
And should a viewer consider flogging their Chevy to purchase an Isuzu? Hello and thank you for tuning into Buyer's Guide. Puleng hails from Limpopo, Polokwane, and is currently driving a 2015 Volkswagen Polo TSI 1.2 Trendline. Puleng has been informed by the VW dealership that for his 120,000 kilometer service, they would need to do a cam belt replacement, estimated to cost around mere 17,000 Rand. Yes, you heard right, 17,000 Rand. He is now seeking advice on how to go about finding potential alternatives to service his vehicle for a lesser price. Now, no dealer is going to tell you, don't do this with us, because, you know, anybody else out there doesn't know how, and they'll use all these rubbish parts and all that. I can tell you now, he's already got that line from them.
Yeah.
Okay? Give us some advice, Temin, because you were in a dealership.
Yeah, look, that is why we've got your RMI approved shops out there. You know, these are reputable businesses with the people with knowledge. You don't have to take a vehicle to a franchise dealer. I'm sitting here saying that myself, you know, simply because you find good value for money places that can replace your car and people that knows the vehicles. I mean, this is a VW we're talking about, not talking for some foreign brand.
Bread and butter for any reasonable workshop.
Yeah.
But of course, go to a reputable place that is known. Don't just take it to some backyard mechanic, a bag on that one. But there's so many other repair places out there.
There's lots of reputable
So
repair
she must just
places.
go around, get a quote, and see where she can get the best price at a reputable
My
place.
advice, you know, I get off this question often. How do you find a reputable workshop? And the simple way is to talk to your friends and family and people you know, work colleagues. Where did you get your car fixed? Who fixed it for you? Did they do a good job? You know, have they got a reputation? You can go into Google nowadays and see, you know, Google reviews, things like that. Find somebody near you, give them a shout, ask them for a quote. That should cost you in the region of about 10 grand, somewhere in that sort of region.
Yeah.
So we're talking a 50% saving nearly.
Thank you.
So you're talking a big saving. So that's the way to go. Is there any advice you'd give there, Matthew?
I think what people also aren't realizing is that you can do your own homework. So you can get a dealer price, but you can also just pick up your phone, call. So even if you're not networking, you don't know workshops, you can call and say, hey, I'm trying to get this part done. How much is it? How much will you charge for labor? And you can start comparing quotes and you can go, okay, is this a popular place? Is it always booked? Is there good reviews online? Then you can start making a more informed decision instead of just sitting there and saying the dealer is my only option, which
And
many
you know-
people think is.
You know those guys handing out pamphlets at the traffic lights?
Yes.
Take a pamphlet.
Yeah.
Call. It costs you nothing to make a call. Because they also reputable guys. Yes, they're handing out pamphlets at the traffic lights,
Yeah.
but they reputable, what you call as franchises.
Yes. Yeah.
So, hey, you know, if you don't want to take it to Adam, he charges an arm and a leg. I know. I've taken a car there once before.
No arms, no legs. that's the simple thing for
Yeah.
not only, this is just one application, but you can apply the advice that we've given you to any car that
Yes.
you need repaired. Okay, we're going to end off things with a question from Lolo, the owner of a fully paid off 2016 Chevrolet Utility 1.4 with 105,000 Ks on the clock. Recently, he encountered a dilemma regarding replacement of the bakkies windscreen. The dealer they were directed to for the windscreen replacement suggested that he transitions from Chevrolet to Isuzu due to the potential future spare part issues following Chevrolet's departure from South Africa. Is it indeed advised to consider moving away from the Chev to an Isuzu? Matthew?
I think, again, consumer education is so important because I know people who say, I'm going to keep this car forever and ever and ever and ever, and then the car brand departs. And then they're like, oh, I've been sitting here 4 months, I don't have a windscreen, I don't have an indicator, I don't have this. When you get to a point where you're looking at replacing something and the actual dealer that you go to says, we don't have it available, you either have a choice of, I'm going to wait because I love it to bits, or I'm going to start thinking of alternative options. So any time in a car's lifespan, whenever I'm looking at one or someone's looking for it, always see, is there stock availability of parts, whether it's third party or replacement, and then go from there. Because if something breaks, you don't want to be sitting without a car because it looks like it's a utility car. He's using it for work. It's making him money. And now he's going to have downtime because, you know, he's got a cracked windscreen or it can't be replaced. He's going to get fines from the police from it. So I always say just look at what's there. And if there isn't and there's no availability of stuff, move on to something that's more reliable and available.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just tell you guys something quickly. That's got to be one of the more popular vehicles in this country. One, he's talking to the wrong windscreen people.
Yeah.
I could probably get him a windscreen tomorrow morning for that vehicle, installed.
Thank you.
Okay?
Hundreds of places will do
He's
it.
talking, the Chev, he's talking complete, whoever's spoken to there, well, I can't use that word, it's a family show, guys.
Yeah.
But anyway, that advice he's got about changing the vehicle is because that guy wants to buy that vehicle from him and keep it for himself. And the parts availability for a utility. Oh, please.
Off the shelf.
Please, they're available all over the place.
The majority of the parts are available for
And
that.
also, you know,
And that particular Chevy I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about anything else. That utility.
this is a commercial vehicle that everywhere, you know, and there are parts available for this.
From radiators to ball joints, they're available.
And also, if you look at the mileage of this car, now must I change my utility bakkie 2016 with 105,000 Ks on the clock simply because a dealership
Can't find a
tell me
windscreen.
that there's a windscreen.
No.
Don't take it to A dealership, take it to B dealership, which is lots of them all over the place.
Yes.
And you're gonna get a windscreen.
Yeah,
Yes.
you'll find.
Those windscreens, man, any proper windscreen place will replace it.
Just remember, this is very much like our previous question about going to a dealer for specific parts. Sometimes, like Chev, I must say, the Chevy parts are atrociously expensive and they don't keep stock of them. They're always a problem. Whenever we get Chevys in to fix, it's a real pain in the butt. But the utility, because it's, as Segi says, it's a popular car, we've seen lots of them on the road. Aftermarket people will supply parts for that.
Yes.
Any bits and pieces. You may find the odd little thing that's a problem, but those are unusual parts that are unlikely to fail. So definitely we would say keep the vehicle. You don't have to go to our Isuzu and get it maintained.
And with that, we've come to the end of this week's show with Mr. Ford. Thank you, Matthew and Temengosi, for joining us and for all the helpful tips.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Until next time, please buckle up and stay safe on the roads.